There you are, ghoulies, and here we are once again on Crimson Theater, Milwaukee, and we do have Charles Bruss is with us once again. You were on here before, right?
A couple times, yeah.
In Kenosha, too?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, and we're here to talk about your documentary on the 41 Twin Outdoor Theater. But I'd like to make a little comment about the recent events, because Milwaukee has a good buddy named Scott Walker, and Milwaukee has some opponents of the Kenosha Casino as well, which got shot down in flames by Scott Walker. And, well, what can one say except that Kenosha probably even would make a failure out of a casino. So there was never no sure bet there. But I did contact the constable of Kenosha about the Walker decision and about the Milwaukee opponents to the casino. And the mayor, the constable, all were in agreement that they said, "Ha ha ha ha! You're getting a trolley!" Yeah. Karma's a bitch. Can we say bitch on Crimson Theater, Milwaukee?
I guess we did.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, Charles Bruss is here, and you're going to tell us a little bit about your documentary about the 41 Twin.
Yep. I actually worked at the 41 Twin back in 2000 and 2001. In 2001, it actually ended up being the last year it was open. But while I was there, I took 8-9 hours worth of video footage over 2 years with the hopes of doing a documentary someday. And here it is, 12 years later after it got torn down, I finally got it done because, I had the guy to help me finish it together. It was great. I had some other people that were helping me out, and they kind of left me hanging. So after 12 years, we got it done. It's a masterpiece.
It's very good. I previewed it, and I have to say it's great, and it captures a period in Americana that only a few people that are lucky enough to actually have a drive-in near them can really understand what it's like. I know some people in Kenosha said they were never at the drive-in, and now they may never get the chance, of course, because that looks grim. Everything looks grim in Kenosha. Just even leaving here in the hearse this morning, all cloudy and gloomy, of course, until you get up to about Racine, and then the sun comes back out. So there's always a grisly, dark cloud hanging over Kenosha.
Yeah. But, I just wanted to document the history of a once proud theater. It was the second drive-in to ever open in the state of Wisconsin in 1948. And through my research, they've shown over 8,240 feature films over those years.
Wow.
Because I wrote them down, each one.
But they're not in danger of getting torn down anytime soon?
Well, this one's gone.
Oh, that one's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It got torn down in 2002.
Oh, wow, that's sad.
Yeah.
That's very sad.
But the state has, I believe, 10 right now, and a lot of it depends on if the Kenosha Theater is going to go bye-bye.
Considering who owns it, I would say that's a very grim prospect right now.
Yeah, well, I guess until the bulldozers actually come and start tearing it down, I'm always going to hold out hope. But I've also, back in 2010, as you are aware, because I interviewed you at the Kino, I plan to do a documentary on the Kino as well. I just hope for a much happier ending than having to finish another documentary with footage of it being torn down.
Well, let me give you a little hint. If you want to make a movie with a happy ending, don't do it in Kenosha. We got trolley problems down there too. But it's sad about the Kino. But the same company that now owns the Kino tried to build low-income housing. And the villagers came with their torches and demanded that they didn't want it in their neighborhood. So the alderman flip-flopped and said no building. So Bear Realty, basically, who owns the Kino, sued the city, the taxpayers, for $4 million because they didn't want something in their neighborhood. Now, Bear Realty is like a realtor giant in the city. And, they are, as far as I'm concerned, very privileged to have made millions and millions of dollars in Kenosha. I think it was very wrong for them to sue the taxpayers simply over not wanting low-income housing in their neighborhood. It was in a neighborhood where they're trying to make the neighborhood better, so they felt that this was going to make it worse. But this is the guy that owns that theater down there. He's looking to make a Walmart or property there, and the whole reason that he's got it the whole time was for that reason. And I think it was was already talking about doomsday for that as early as 2008, 2009. But then I think the whole housing thing fell through, so that's the only reason that saved the drive-in for a while. So it's not one of those things where people think they can start signing petitions and do anything, because it's not like the city or the state owns it. It's owned by a private person. It's just sad, really.
Well, yeah, my personal opinion is if it could hurt his business. You know, people don't have to do business with Bay Realty.
You know what, though? It would already hurt their business, because after they sued the city, you know, and they're still going to do business, because people forget. People don't. That's the problem with these issues with streetcars or all dramatic city issues. Is your average citizen doesn't pay attention until it's too late, and they already sneaky snake the stuff in through the back door, and you know, and basically then they find out. So now we've got a big. They want a referendum on expanding the streetcar. We've had a streetcar in Kenosha that did a loop through the downtown for way over 10 years now. And that was part of the museums and everything that they added in Kenosha, which have some success, or, you know, have their days that are good. But basically the streetcar did absolutely nothing for the downtown. Our downtown's in worse shape than I've seen it in years. Mm-hmm. Just from the buildings that have been abandoned forever are worse off. And then little businesses come in and go out. If they put the streetcar in, they're going to lose half the parking on one side of the street, or maybe on both if they put it in the center. I don't know what they're thinking, but it just seems like you know, you get these people like the Lakota group that come into a city and start making all these advising ideas. And we had a group come in Kenosha and basically draw a picture of downtown Kenosha with a bunch of brand new 20-store buildings. And I'm like, well, is Donald Trump going to move here? Because otherwise it's going to happen. Of course, their number one recommendation was a streetcar, because we get an $8 million grant, but we got to put $2 million in and then maintain the thing. But then they're going to put all these businesses out of business while they're building that. So I don't know. It's a crazy. How do we get on that subject anyway? I guess everybody's a little hot about streetcars.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either.
Huh?
I'm not a fan either.
Well, you know, people are pretty hot either way. But definitely, if you post anything on Facebook, say, about the streetcar, it's a no. It's a total no. On the other hand, now, if they don't do it, in our case, they might as well, it's the doom of the downtown for good, I think. Mm-hmm. If the no casino thing hasn't doomed Kenosha bad enough already.
Yeah.
Which brings us to tonight's movie. All this movie? Talk of doom. Ed Wood's Plan 9 from Outer Space. What do you got to say about that one?
I saw it recently, and it really is a bad movie. In a good way, though. I mean, you know,
I think it's kind of got a bad rap. And I'm lucky enough to actually have a little piece of the script here now. A couple interesting parts from Plan 9 in Outer Space. And let's just read this and compare it to another movie. Stronger, you see, you stupid minds. Stupid. That's all I'm taking from you. Get back here, you jerk. Let him finish. It's because of man like you that all must be destroyed. Headstrong, violent, no use of the mind that God gave you. Okay. Now, my vote for worst movie of all time, of course, is Titanic, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. And I'm going to read this script for you. Rose, Jack. Rose and Jack wading through freezing water. Rose, Jack. Rose and Jack wading through freezing water. Half hour later, Rose, Jack. Rose and Jack. Wading through freezing water. They must have been superhuman, because anybody else would have been dead in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I say that the Titanic movie was far worse in my eyes. And on top of being a bad movie, it's also disrespectful to the subject matter. While clearly Ed Wood's work, you know, just take this little bit. Take a can of your gasoline. Say this can of gasoline is the sun. Now you spread a little line of it into a ball, representing the earth. How? The gasoline represents the sunlight, the sun particles. Here we saturate the ball with the gasoline, the sunlight. Then we put a flame into the ball. The flame will speedily travel around the earth, back along the line of the gasoline to the can or the sun. See what I'm saying? I mean,
That's science.
I don't know. I think Ed Wood's Plan 9 is getting a bad rap. But it had some incredibly entertaining things about Plan 9 is that you have Tor Johnson. You have Bela Lugosi as, you know, a little snippet of footage. And, of course, you have the original horror hostess, Vampira, in the film.
Yes.
Now, I know I haven't seen it in a while, but I don't think Vampira was in the Titanic movie. So
No.
they
not
just
at
didn't
all.
have it going on there. I don't know. There's a lot worse stuff coming out of Hollywood right now in our time that's worse than Plan 9 from Outer Space. You know, I mean, how is it that Hollywood, with all the genius and all the means and money they have, that any movie should ever come out with 2 stars? I saw a movie review. The movie got no stars. I mean, how can that
Wow.
be? Yeah, I can't remember what it was. It's a pretty forgettable film, but no stars.
Well, I have a vote for a bad film. If you've ever seen Feeders, oh, I rented a Blockbuster years ago. It's so bad. They actually like show a skull sitting there, and it's like from above they drop like red jelly on it to simulate blood and guts or something. But it was just really ridiculous.
Oh, really?
It's bad acting. Yep. bad acting.
But Plan 9, I think it has a charm all its own, and of course made the director very famous. Unfortunately, after he had passed away. Poor man died watching football. I guess he didn't really care for football at all, so that no one could understand what was going on there. Must have been rough. Speaking of rough and football, how about those Packers?
Oh, no. Oh.
But, you know, despite, you know, I mean, they were all beat up, you know. I mean, despite everything bad that happened to them, at least they didn't suffer from deflated balls. I mean, now that's really, you know.
Yeah, that's the worst, you know.
That is the worst, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially when you got 11 or 12 of them that are that way.
yeah.
No.
That's well, we still don't know what happened with that. Of course, these shows are taped a bit ahead, so some of this we're talking about probably is outdated by now. You know, they said they may not let that team play the Super Bowl. Maybe there'll be no Super Bowl. You know,
I say we just let the Packers play.
they already lost.
Yeah, I know, but why not?
It wasn't the Patriots. Was the Patriots the ones that with the sagging balls? That,
Yep. Yeah.
They the ones that played the Packers? No.
Well, we did play them early in the season, and
Okay.
we beat them.
Really?
Yeah.
Deflated balls or not?
Yeah. Well, we can only assume there were some deflated balls in that game too.
I guess the Packers do have a few deflated balls in their repertoire. They all say Favre on the side of them, but I won't go there.
Oh. Snap.
Anyway, Coolies, we got to go somewhere. We have to get into Plan 9 from Outer Space. And what a great script. I think it's an amazing piece of work here. You ought to check it out. Just to have the script from Plan 9 in your hands. That's amazing. All right, Ghoulies, without further ado, let's get into it. Ed Wood's immortal classic, Plan 9 from Outer Space on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, where we're always driving into something.
Oh, I see what you did there.
All right, Ghoulies, there you are. Plan 9 finally proposed after the other 8 plans obviously failed. These aliens ain't as bright as they look, are they?
Well, I don't know if they could bring people back from the dead. I mean,
well, you know, as long as you got someone honking a horn in the background, I suppose you could bring up anybody. Someone honks a horn like that in the morning, geez. Yeah, terrible conditions here. Ed Wood's Plan 9 from Outer Space, and of course the classic night, dark, black, white. What's going on in this movie?
yeah, it's. I don't know. I'm left speechless.
And of course, we can't forget Tim Burton's Ed Wood movie, which was a great set. Have you seen that one?
No, that one I did not see.
Wow, I can't believe how many people haven't seen that movie, and amazingly, how many Tim Burton fans haven't seen that film. I think it's one of his best, Tim Burton, and it came out in 1994, done in black and white. Johnny Depp as Ed Wood, which is a bit of a stretch, but it's funny. The film isn't exactly historically accurate, of course, depending on who you ask. But it's a lot of fun, and definitely one of my favorite of the films. And of course, has Martin Landau wins an Oscar for playing Bela Lugosi.
Oh yeah.
Did you know that?
I did not, but I know.
Well, and that probably opened up a lot of viewers to Ed Wood and what he did. One of the scenes in Ed Wood's movie from Bride of the Monster is almost verbatim as Bella wrote, wrote it, and it just is a cool film. If you haven't checked out Ed Wood by Tim Burton, that pretty much explains Ed Wood's life through a few periods of, Glen or Glenda, Bride of the Monster, and then Plan 9 from Outer Space. He did a lot of other things in monster nudie films. Orgy of the Dead is kind of interesting.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically footage of strippers in a graveyard with brief appearances by a mummy and a wolfman.
All right.
Go figure. Oh, and Griswold, who was the narrator in tonight's film, is also in the film. Now, Griswold was a great one to make predictions. He was the one that said that we would be living on Mars in 1972.
Wow.
But you know what? Personally, myself, I believe people are already on Mars and probably since the 70s, just simply because I find it really hard to believe that in 1969 we land a man on the moon and then that's it. Huh? That doesn't make any sense at all. I think we're kept in the dark. I think we're just a little poor Korean kid in North Korea at the end of the day, as far as what we know about the real world. I think they're already there. They're releasing the little here and there.
They're on the dark side of the moon.
Huh?
They're on the dark side of the
probably on the other side of the moon too. It's awful funny. They don't. They would be on the dark side maybe. Who knows? Maybe it ain't dark on the dark side of the moon. Did you ever think of that? How would we know?
Right. It's
We wouldn't know nothing. So probably already on Mars. Just saying. So Griswold might have been right. Made a lot of predictions about stuff, and then he ended up in the inner circle of Ed Wood, who really did a lot of fantastic things, though, as far historically or not. I mean, his movies come off as campy and funny, very entertaining. But on the other hand, for a guy to just come up out of nowhere, who was basically the gopher at the Hollywood studios, he worked with Bela Lugosi, he worked with Vampira and Tor Johnson. And, of course, Bela Lugosi was always epic before he was an old man when he worked with Ed Wood. But Tor Johnson and Vampira also, very iconic figures. Of course, Vampira's image was saturated into the monster youth culture. We didn't even know who she was, but we knew who she was. We didn't know what movie she was in, and but she was always there. And, of course, Tor Johnson's pretty much the same thing. He was the #1 selling mask at Don Post Studios. Did you know that?
No, didn't.
Yeah, he was. I think he might still be a contender. And, of course, he was a wrestler that got into films. I think, really, though, his hulking figure and graceful way with the English language is really what got him in the film. Mm-hmm. So that's good stuff.
Oh, yeah. I like Vampira's fingers.
Yeah,
really long.
Just I know when I'm looking at Vampira up and down, I'm drawn right to her fingers.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Among other things.
Long fingers there. Skinny waist. Kind of scary woman altogether. And of course, she just passed there. We did have the Vampira tribute. We did it at Horror Hound, and she passed away just about 4 or 5 years. Well, 5 years ago now, I suppose. Wow. Time's going by. But I had a friend in L.A. and she used to come into her clothing store all the time, and she says, she was a kind of a cranky old lady.
Wow.
But,
yeah.
I would have loved to have met her. That never happened. We were trying to set something like that up, but time just wasn't willing, you know. And, of course, her TV show was she was the very first one to read jokes and show horror films on the late night. And
there you go.
That was Zachary the Cool Ghoul, Roland, shortly after. And there's been one in every city throughout the United States ever since. And in some cities, presently, there's too many. Anything else you want to say about the drive-in legacy?
Well, if you got a drive-in that's in your area, support the drive-in. Go buy food in a concession stand, because if you don't, it can go bye-bye. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, too,
keeps you regular too.
Yes, definitely. And of course, every theater now has to convert to digital.
Right.
And that's what's killing a lot of theaters and drive-ins.
Well, that's again the excuse that they're using in Kenosha, when the owner of the property, he could just give that money out to fix that, and he would never, he didn't have to bat an eye.
Yeah.
I'm sure he likes me a lot. But you know, we've got some vintage footage from the Keno Outdoor Theater when you were on the Crimson Theater way back in 2004.
Yep.
Wow. That was only 11 years ago.
I know, right?
That's craziness.
Oh, I wonder if I still have my girlish figure.
Huh?
I wonder if I still have my girlish figure back then.
They've always said you had a girlish figure.
Girlish figure.
Anyway, let's check out that footage from 2004 on the Crimson Theater at the Keno Outdoor. At the drive-in Saturday, what is it, the 8th today? Well, we were here for that nasty thunderstorm you saw on last week's show. So we're trying it again. Of course, if you're watching this on Saturday the 15th, what are you doing at home watching TV? You should be out here with us because all the hearses will be out here. And it'll be another big monster fiasco as usual. And you never know who's going to show up for one of these sorts of things. And how about you guys? How are you guys doing over here? You'll be pretty soon here? Aren't you guys a little bit young? You're not scared though, huh? Van Helsing, you know Frankenstein's in this one. And the werewolf and Dracula. And even Mr. Hyde in the beginning. We tried to watch it last night, but it rained so hard we couldn't see the screen. What's that? I think we're onto something here, Ghoulies, and who knows what that could be. Oh no, they won't put me back there again in the hole, no. No, I'm out now for the summer. So I'm going to be here every weekend, I think. You ready for a good scary time? Yeah! All right. You're not scared of nothing. How old is she? She's not scared of nothing. All right, Ghoulies, I got to hunt down a few more victims to interview here.
It's her birthday today. No, now you stupid.
That's it. Forgot your name. Don't feel bad.
That's all right, Fred.
Fred. Now, Fred and myself have something in common. What year was that? It was probably about 1991 or 2 that
91?
91 that we both tried out for the part of Dracula at the Lakeside Players. And by the way, neither one of us got the part, did we?
No, I didn't get Dracula, no.
No, you had darker hair back then.
Yeah, I did.
You had a little more of the vampiric atmosphere.
Yeah, I did.
Yes. And, you know, I don't know. I kind of even grew a little bit of something there for a mustache.
You got it.
Yeah, it kind of predated the Gary Oldman Dracula a little bit.
Not by much, but yeah, very close.
Very close. And so you're out here helping out at the drive-in every weekend now, huh?
Yes, sir.
And what's one of the stranger things that's happened out here?
Well, okay, I can't say that one on TV. No, I can't say that one either. No, we had what the strangest thing I've seen? God, I'm trying to think. Let's see.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, let's see here. Fights. I've actually had to stop a few of them out here.
Oh, well, that's, you know, that's typical.
Unfortunately,
Fights.
Yeah. Walked in on some situations that were, how can I say this?
Intimate, private, or otherwise unnecessary at a drive-in theater.
Well,
that's kind of the tradition.
I would just say awkward by the way they were doing it. You know?
Well, you never know. You know, that is a sort of a movie tradition. And we're going to have to show. So we have some of those drive-in trailers, you know, that show the weenie stand and stuff. Yeah. I think there's one of them that the hot dog actually has a green stripe down the side of it, just like those hot dogs you used to get at McKinley Elementary, if you recall.
Yeah, that's where my kids are right now.
Huh?
That's where my kids go to right now.
Oh, okay. So the green hot dog probably still exists.
I think they're the ones that
upgraded.
Didn't get you guys. They're the
same ones. They probably had them in the fridge since then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so next week, Ghoulies, well, you'll be watching this on the night it's happening.
Yep.
15th, all the hearses are coming out.
Well, they are.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can get our parking spot again up there. Talk to James or to the proper management official.
I'll take care of it.
Okay. All right. You take IOUs?
I take what I can get.
Okay. Sounds like when the doc dates. I don't know.
You're right.
All right, ghoulies. I don't know what's coming up next. We'll find somebody else to harass.
Stray cats tuning call.
Charles Bruss, right? Did I get that
Oh,
right?
yeah.
All right, because you know the ghoulie myself gets a little tongue-tied now and then, and he was on, of course, at one of our Milwaukee live shows. We did show that little excerpt here in Kenosha later on, but here he is in the flesh, and you are a drive-in theater historian.
Yep.
Am I correct?
Yep. Working on the book project right now.
He's working on a book project, and when do you think that'll be finished?
It's gonna be a couple years.
Couple years, huh?
76 drive-ins to find info on this.
76 drive-ins. Is that how many are left in the country right
No,
now?
I'm
or-
just doing the state of Wisconsin.
Oh, there's 76 drive-ins in the state of
It
Wisconsin?
used to be.
Used to be.
Yeah, there's 9 or 10 now. But
Yeah, we were really, we're very privileged to have a drive-in theater this close to home for us. You
Oh, yeah.
came from Milwaukee, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah, have you seen Van Helsing yet, or have you
No,
waited?
I waited tonight, and
Well, we waited, and the big storm came last night, and we couldn't see through the windows, and of course the rubber on the hearse's wipers is completely rotted away and dysfunctional as the doc himself. But anyway, we're here tonight. Hopefully, we'll see the flick. And so, you got any special trivia you know about our own Kino Outdoor Theater?
well, it opened May 18th, 1949. Back in the beginning, the early days, they used to have the miniature train that went around.
Oh yeah, I think
And-
I remember that one.
Yep.
Maybe I'm dating myself.
And
430 and all.
And then they used to have pony rides.
Oh yeah. Used to have a haunted bus. Maybe
bus.
that'll come back. My haunted bus used to be out here. I was supposed to get you a picture of that,
Yes, we
wasn't
were.
I?
Yes, we were.
I got one for you. I might
right.
even have one in the hearse, but I'm not sure. But we're hoping to get that back on the road and back out here, actually.
It's something that's right up your alley. I'm still finding the information out, but they did a stunt here that they did right after they did a stunt at the 4120 in Milwaukee back in '63. They buried a man alive for 4 days.
And this theater here?
Yep, that's what I was told. I got-
Maybe they left him in there, and that's why he busted that hole over there to get out. I don't know. But yeah, it's great. I'm from what I've seen of the Van Helsing movie so far, it looks good. And coming attractions and all, and it's got all the monsters all in one movie.
Yep,
Which sounds like a be an action-packed thriller for
Yep,
everybody.
let's hope so.
Well, it's great to see you again,
All right.
and you just keep us updated. You know the number, 13 13 13 13. Just give us a ring.
All right.
Let us know if there's some new developments in outdoor theater history
All right.
or trivia. To tell us your website. Say it slowly, and we'll try to even throw it up on our screen.
All right, I'll say it first. It's www.driveinthroughwisconsin.com. So it's www.driveinthru, and then Wisconsin spelled all the way out, .com.
I see what you're saying there. But if they're just driving through Wisconsin, they might miss all the driving through.
I thought it was a little clever plan word.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. And like I said before, great to see you again. And I'm hoping there's supposed to be a guy. We've showed some of the short movies he's made. Mark Dillon Dollar Productions. He made a little movie called The Ghost Book, and he's supposed to meet me out here either tonight, or I think it was last night, but he might have got it rained out.
Yeah.
So who knows what's up next, ghoulies? You can never tell on Crimson Theater. I hope you enjoyed tonight's horrifying melodrama, Plan 9 from Outer Space, as much as we did. I want to go out and get some of that Solar night. I think that'd be some good stuff, you know?
Definitely.
Little Solar night on a Saturday night. Some good Ed Wood movies. Oh, that'd be great. Great stuff. Or how about Plan 9 from Outer Space at the Outdoor Theater?
Yes. Now that would make it classic.
Uh-huh.
Beyond classic.
Right.
Get some
Well,
old cars in there.
There were some people that did suggest that Plan 9 from Outer Space at the drive-in theaters was directly responsible for the baby boomers.
Could be.
Yeah, it could be. Well, what do you got there?
I
A
have-
letter of recommendation?
Well, I have a little surprise for you. Since we were talking about the 41 Outdoor Theater, in my work that I'm working on for the Kenosha Drive-In documentary someday, looking for old ads for the Kino.
Whoa!
But I know that you're a big fan of the Roosevelt Theater,
Well, of course.
so I have found some original ads for you,
Wow.
and I put the dates around the back.
You know I'm going to have a little trouble
let
with
me-
that safety
there we go.
clip. You know,
Let's see here. This one here, this one's from 1952.
Wow.
This is because that's a little article with talking about it, and then the ad. And then here's another one from 54 with the article and the ad.
Wow.
And then this last one is from 1974, actually.
That's amazing.
So
Oh, wow.
it's all yours. You can have
The
that.
Three Musketeers, that's what, 74, you think?
Yep, they got the date on the
I
back.
remember them having that outline on the thing. I can have these?
Yep, those are for you.
All righty. That's awesome. Of course, my band is the Roosevelt Dolls now, you know.
Yes. So yeah, that's how it all works together.
Woohoo! All right, benefits from Crimson Theater. Seldom does that happen. Again, we had shown Plan 9 from outer space and talked about the drive-in, and you have another, the Kino Outdoor, might come on. Now, somebody really wants to do an outdoor, though. All they need is a big piece of land, the new projector, and, you know, obviously if they put up a screen now, they don't make it as elaborate as the ones back in the day. You know,
Well-
when those used to light up and really be, you know, a novelty for people to come out and see. Of course, you can tell by the kind of cars we drive these days that the novelty in art and design is gone.
Well, nowadays, if you build a drive-in, look at spending about $1 million
Yeah.
between land, a brand new Shelby screen's $100,000, the projection equipment's about $75,000-$80,000, and you know it's not cheap. It's not like the old days where it could, you know, when they built it for $30,000, which was a lot of money back then. But
Well, yeah, that was a gamble back then too, you know. But then, you know, people didn't have all this availability of film and everything right in their, in their homes. And technology changes everything. Ironically, there's a Elmwood Plaza Mall that I used to go when I was a kid in Racine. My grandparents would take us there. There's something about that mall design. It was basically like a strip mall, though, not something you walk through, even though there was a couple tunnels that would lead you. Very interesting design. You know, of course, being there as a kid, you have like these magic memories of that time. But it was a really booming mall, and it was basically one of those things like the malls are today, where you can just drive up on the store you want to go into and not have to walk through a whole tunnel to get really to the separate stores. Well, they put Regency Mall in, which was a real big mall where you walk through the interior like it's a downtown or something. And that put the Elmwood Plaza Mall out of business. But now everybody's going back to those strip mall situations because they don't want to have to walk through 20 stores to get to the one that they want to go to. So
Yep.
Technology's changing everything and at a faster rate. And of course, you know, technology, you know, that's what TV was the demise of a lot of theaters.
Yep.
And, you know, television stations, cable came for them. Now we got Netflix and everything else and other ways to watch television. So it's just changed everything.
I just hope people don't forget that the outdoors are there. You
Right.
know,
You're
that's
not going to get that kind of experience anywhere
Yeah,
else.
it's a great family environment, and 2 movies for the price of 1. You can't go wrong.
You get intermission. You can have fun with the kids. You can smoke in your car. You can
Yep.
drink in your car if you're careful.
Yeah.
Some other things that were, I know the Kino was cracking down on people sneaking in.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're actually looking in trunks now. That's kind of, you know, different. We all know about the famous Cheech and Chong skit, right?
I've seen it. It's been a while.
Well, it wasn't even something you'd see. It was a record.
Oh, it was a record.
Yeah, a couple guys they have them in the trunk trying to sneak in the drive-in, and then they forget so high they forget about they're in there. But yeah, they had to crack down on that, and maybe some of the hanky-panky going on in the back row.
Oh.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, I've had some stories of that when I worked at the 41 Twin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of stories. I spent a lot of nights hanging out at the Kino, with or without the haunted bus out there, and of course, Beautiful Bert was one of the security out there. It was some good times. And, well, we miss those times. That's why we show movies like Plan 9 from Outer Space, because they have a charm, and they bring back so many great memories. So you have a horrifying week, ghoulies. We'll see you next time on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theaters, where you kept watching that, what's that new show, The Walking Dead? And boy, do you got a walker now.